Okay, we are live. I'm
Okay.
hearing. Let me make sure I have everything right.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, make sure I have everything. Okay, yeah, we're good.
Okay.
All right, so I'll let people start just joining as we're on here, and we'll just get things started. I'm gonna leave this up anyway, so they'll be able to come back and watch it.
Yeah.
But trying to make sure. I hear a little echo. Do you hear echo on your end as well?
Nope. I do not hear an echo.
Sure. I don't know why. I hear a little echo. Okay, let me see if that was it.
Okay.
Okay, I don't hear it anymore. It's all right.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, this is Jateryn. Um Jateryn is a wholesaler. I have her here today and she's gonna explain to you guys her success story. And I'm gonna ask her a few questions so you guys can, learn wholesaling today and the benefits of it. It's also a risk, but there's a lot of reward in wholesaling. So with that being said, Jateryn, can you introduce yourself, everybody?
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Jateryn Moore, and I'm a wholesaler in Michigan, Lansing, Michigan. And I just started about 6 months ago. Is
Okay.
that, you want me to go a little more?
No, you're fine. My screen
Okay.
had went a little small, but okay.
Okay.
So now, guys, how I met Jateryn is I saw her on a video on YouTube on Brent Daniels' page, and I wanted to definitely get her on the show. So the biggest thing that blew my mind was she only started investing with about $200. So can you kind of take us back? And actually, before you take us back, before you start wholesaling, what were you doing before you start wholesaling?
Yep. So before I started wholesaling, I was a Children's Protective Services investigator. So I worked for CPS for the state of Michigan, and I actually started that job a year ago this month. So it was in February of 2021. And during that time, I just didn't like the job. I didn't like it at all. So I was trying to figure out different ways to get into real estate. But like most people, I thought I needed a lot of capital, so a lot of money, and I thought I needed to have good credit.
Mhm.
But I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I came across a podcast, Wholesaling Inc. And I said, okay, maybe real estate is something I can get into, but I just need to do a little more research. So I stumbled across wholesaling, and the rest was just history. And I was only in my Children's Protective Services job for 6 months. So I worked in it from February of 2021 until August, and then I quit. So I quit cold turkey. And I ended up getting my last check. It was for right around like $800. And I used that to, supplement whatever I needed in my house at that time, like
Mhm.
groceries and stuff. And then I'm also in school. And so what I did was I got a refund check from Michigan State University, and I used the entire check to pay for Brent Daniels' coaching program. I got right into it because after listening to Wholesaling Inc., I knew that I wanted to do it. I didn't know how I was going to start wholesaling, but I kept hearing Brent Daniels' program, and I thought it was pretty interesting what he was doing as far as cold calling. So I spent every dime I had to get into the program, and literally I had spent, like you said, I told you about $200 just to start marketing because after I spent the money on his program, I didn't have any more money, literally, and so I had to figure it out from there. And I went to Best Buy. I got me a little phone. I added a little $20 service plan on it so that I can have unlimited talk and text. And I started cold calling.
Okay, guys. So if you listening right now, the way she just explained, it doesn't get no harder than dialing on an actual phone number by number.
Yep.
And just the fact that she left her job, she even got once she got her refund check, she invested it. See, a lot of us, even in life, we know we tend to run across money. We just don't do the right things with the money. So
Yep.
when she got her check, she actually invested it into her future, and it came back, much more than she actually invested because she actually took a risk. Someone else would have wanted to buy some clothes, some shoes, go party a little bit, and
Yep.
just waste the money, on temporary happiness when if you just do a small investment, it can lead to long-term happiness. So,
Yes.
with that being said, how many days did you start dialing before you were able to get your first property under contract?
2. So
Okay, so that's
yeah,
very fast, guys.
that's very fast and also very unheard of.
Yes,
It's rare.
even if you have a dialer, because
Yeah.
like me myself, I start off with a dialer. So even with a caller and starting off with a dialer, that would be fast to get a property under contract in 2 days. So to
Yeah.
do it with single line dialing on a phone, that's like a record right there. When just calling on the phone, that's really crazy. So when you got that property under contract, were you fully aware of what's going on, or did you learn through the process? Like when you got under contract, did you like download a contract from somewhere and use it, or did you sit it over DocuSign or sign in person?
So I signed in person and I used Brent's contract. So on his TTP, his coaching program, he has a contract that we can use. He just recommends that we get it, approved through our title company or attorney, because we're all his students are in different markets. So here in Michigan, I just had to get it approved with my title company, and I did. And so what happened was I literally went out after calling the seller. He was motivated. I had got all of the information I needed as far as his motivation, his timeline to sell, the price of the property, and the condition. Right. After I had all that information, I literally went out that same day with the contract, and I did not know everything, to answer your question. I didn't. Like I said, I had started 2 days before I got the contract. So right. I was literally just going throughout the process, and as questions just came up, I would type questions into YouTube to try to watch videos to help me through the process. I asked Brent. I reached out to some of the other people in my group just to see it, because when I went out, it wasn't scary, but I was definitely nervous because when I got out to the property, I had never done it before. So I'm like, I really don't know what to look for as far as what needs work. I mean, the property was good. It was gutted to the core. So it's down to the stud. So I knew it needed a lot of work, right. But I couldn't point out and actually, classify what everything was as far as price and what equipment I would need. I didn't know. Right. So I literally did the best I could. I guess, believable and professional to the seller, to where he was willing to sign the contract with me and trust that I was able to get the process handled and done. And we did. So.
Okay. So now, if you guys just listen to what she said, when she went there, she didn't know everything. It's just the fact that she's presenting herself as professional. So she's getting that trust from the seller. He's willing to sign this paper with her because he believes she knows what she's doing. So when you talk to these sellers, you have to implement in their mind that you're the professional here to make them trust you to want to sell you their property. So after that, how did you go about finding your buyer?
Oh my goodness, this is so funny. So in the midst of me cold calling, so the same day I found my seller, 2 days after I started cold calling, I had my seller, and there was also this another seller I had reached out to, and I asked him about his property, right? So I'm like, well, would you be interested in considering an offer? He told me yes. So if you guys don't know, in wholesaling, the game is all the industry is all about follow up. You have to follow up in order to get deals. So I was following up with this guy that told me he wanted to consider an offer. And I followed up with him probably for about 3 weeks in September. So like the third week in September, that's like on Saturday, I called him and I asked, was he still interested in considering an offer? He ended up telling me no. But his next question to me was, do you happen to have any properties that you would consider selling? I said, yes, I would. I actually have one on this street at this address. And he was like, well, I'm actually right around the corner from that street. What's the address? So I gave it to him. And then he was like, is it open? All of this is going on while I'm on the phone with him during a follow-up call. He goes right over to the property and he's like, I want this. I literally almost dropped the phone. So
yep, that's the feeling when you first get that buyer for that property. Like, man, this is real. I'm about to make a few $1,000s off this. Like, and it's crazy because it's really worth your time. It's really worth your time.
Absolutely. So he went over and as I'm on the phone with him, he's walking through the property. Now, mind you, I said it took 2 days to get my contract signed, but it took me about 35 days to close the deal because I didn't have a buyer's list at all. I didn't have anybody. So this buyer that just came out of the blue, when he went over and walked through the property and then told me he was interested and wanted to go forward with it, that was that. And so and the crazy part is it wasn't even him that bought the property from me. It was his brother.
Okay.
And his brother bought the property from me, and he also bought another property from me as well. So that was a good relationship to
Yeah.
have.
Yep.
Yeah.
So guys, about buyers, you can get 100 buyers and only have 3 of them that are serious, and you could have only 10 buyers and all 10 of them are serious. Or you could only have 2 buyers and those 2 buyers will buy everything that you got coming. So the fact that she found a buyer that bought that and another deal from her, that's a very good buyer. You know, that's a very good relationship to have with someone, because obviously they're serious. There's buyers out here that they will play you for your deal. Like you can assign your contract to somebody and they're just assigning it to waste your time because you have a time frame, and then let that time frame run out, and then they'll reach out to the seller going behind you or hope that you lose the deal so they can then get it. But obviously you can see that she dealt with the serious buyer. So from this deal, she said it took about 35 days, guys. So when you call these sellers, getting under contract, you have a closing date. So within that time frame, you want to get a buyer and then just close within that time frame that you have with the seller, which may be 35 days. So that's just how things go. I mean, you can't just get a deal under contract and close it tomorrow. You have to get the title searched and stuff like that. But once you get the buyer, with this buyer, did you have him put an earnest money deposit down?
Yes, I did. It was $2,500 earnest money deposit.
Okay, so boom. Once he put that down, she knew the deal was good. So
exactly,
he's not gonna want to waste $2,500. So once that's done, you can, feel really good to know, okay, this deal is gonna close. Because even if it doesn't, she would have still made $2,500 because he already put that down on the property. So guys, once you assign these contracts to your end buyer, make sure you get a good amount of earnest money deposit. I would say at least $2,000. Just to make sure the seller is not going to play you. Because if you just put $500, he can walk away from $500 and just let that contract expire and try to get the seller himself. So that's that. So now you first started off investing about $200. So how long did it take you to get to your 30,000 plus mark?
Okay, so I had it took me so I made 30,000 in December.
Okay.
So, but in those 2 sellers, I actually started cold calling with the 2 sellers I made that deal with in November. So my first deal in September, where I had that first contract, that took 35 days, and I closed that in October. So then I was continuing to market and stuff. And then I had 2 more homeowners I came across. One was a vacant property, and then another one was a tired landlord. And they both were ready to sell. And just so happened, they both literally closed the same week in December, right before Christmas.
Okay, so that was a great Christmas present for you then. So So the first one, I forgot to mention this. So how much did your first one close for?
$2,000.
Okay, so what was the difference between that and your second deal that you closed?
Oh my gosh, the second, and it's so crazy because I've heard so many different wholesalers say the smaller deals or the smaller profit margins are the deals you have to put the most work into.
Right.
The first one was definitely harder than my second one. The second deal, it just fell in my lap. Literally, I made a cold call in September to that property owner, and he never answered, and I left him a voice message. So he contacted me, I'll never forget, Monday, November 15th. And he's like, hey, you called me about a property that I own and I'm ready to sell. And I'm like, okay, well, catch me up to speed. What was our conversation? Or when was the last time I talked to you? He was like, we actually never talked or spoke. You left a voice message, so I'm returning your message. And I said, okay. So then from there, I just started getting the information I needed. He was ready. He was a little reluctant though, because he said he wanted to talk to a real estate professional first. So I had to educate him a little bit just to make him feel comfortable with the process. And then I wanted him to see me, in person. So I went out the same day. He called me the afternoon, and I was able to get that contract, that property under contract, the vacant property. So.
Okay. So, you guys can see that first deal, it just gives you like full confidence that what you're doing is real.
Yeah.
So it motivates you even more to go after more deals. Now she went from a lead from 2,000 to 30,000. That is a huge difference, right? That's actually a life changer. Like, imagine you leaving your job, you invest your refund check, you spend the last money that you had on putting stuff in your house and just calling numbers, getting a phone and calling numbers.
Yeah.
And within just a few months, you make $30,000. So now, if you see that you can do that from that small investment, what can you now do with 30,000? So you can literally change your life forever and start hitting six figures. So
absolutely,
definitely, it's that's really a crazy story. And when I heard about it, I'm just like, wow, if you just dedicate your time to something, you will get something out of it. A lot of people, they want to keep learning wholesaling, or they just scared to jump in, and you just got to get trial and error. Like, you just have to do trial and error every time, and something will work for you. And there's so many people, from other wholesalers to investors to sellers. There's so much connections you can make with people, because at the end of the day, we're talking money here. Everybody's talking money. So this is like the right field that you want to be in, because growing up, we were taught that, to get a property, you had to have all the money first. We didn't really know exactly that, okay, we can wholesale, because we never seen our parents or our family members do it. So this is something very new to people, but it's life changing. You can literally leave your job and in 12 months hit six figures. In 12 months hit six figures with just grinding it out. And it's like, I don't know, it's like, with the whole process, you're becoming an actual boss, because you've built this business from the ground up. So now my question is, are you operating still in your name, or did you start LLC yet?
I actually had an LLC. I started my LLC in September, but I was still operating in my name, because I didn't have a business bank account. So I didn't open my business bank account officially until last month. So January of 2022.
Okay. So now you can see that with doing deals and making 30,000 in 3 months, you can, doing those type of numbers in your business could get you funding. You can start getting credit lines with that business and making a whole lot more money, and using this money to start funding projects you might want to do, or anything you want to do in your life. So it's a very, very intriguing, successful business. So what advice could you get to someone who, they don't have a lot of money right now, or they might have money right now, they just don't know exactly how to get the process started, or just how to dive into it? What advice would you give those people?
So just getting started. So I actually started off driving for dollars. That was how I got my first deals. I didn't pull a list. I actually pulled one list. It was a vacant property list, but it wasn't that big at all, because I didn't have any money. I think I spent like $15 on the list. So you can only imagine how many addresses I got.
So I want to stop you right there, because we didn't explain driving for dollars. Can you tell them what driving for dollars is?
Yes. So driving for dollars is literally getting inside of your car, and you're driving around street by street, different streets in your city, in your market, and you're just looking for properties in distress. So properties that need some type of help or love. And you're looking for obvious identifiers like tall grass or landscaping issues, issues like boarded up houses, overflowing mail, broken windows, or I even look for on trash days, if somebody's trash can is not out in front of their yard, that could be an indicator that somebody's not there. So just driving for dollars. And then I use the app Deal Machine. And so that app helps me to actually keep track of all of my leads that I pin, because the app allows you to pin all of your properties as you're driving. And by pin, I literally mean you're tapping the property, and it just shows you the information about that property. It gives you the owner's name. It gives you the last sale price. the amount of equity. Sometimes it doesn't have all of this information, but at least you'll be able to pin the property, skip trace the information, and then call up the property owner. So that's basically what it is. And I love the Driving for Dollars list because it's your own. It's your own. Nobody else has that list.
Right. And this is a fun fact, guys, about Driving for Dollars. So the difference between Driving for Dollars and just getting the list and skip tracing it is you make more money with Driving for Dollars. Okay. These are houses that, like she said, this is your own list. So you might, these certain houses you find, somebody probably can't find these ones to skip trace because they might not be in a database on PropStream or something to get that property. So these type of deals, guys, you can make a ton of more money. Not saying you can't make them on cold calling, just list off PropStream, but if you can start Driving for Dollars, if you have a car or a vehicle, drive around, go look at some distressed properties, look like nobody's living there, look like it needs some work, get that address down, find a number. You can use True People Search. If you have no money, you can use True People Search to find the number. You get the number and you give them a call. Now, she also mentioned Deal Machine, which is an app that you can use to virtually drive for dollars. So from your own home, you can drive for dollars on the internet and see these properties and which ones are distressed. And like she said, the information will pop up and you can then, look up that owner's number and give them a call. So actually, me personally, I've never drove for dollars, which I'm going to start doing that. But I've never actually done it, but I know that there's a lot of profit there. So that's definitely excellent that you started to do that. So now, since you've accumulated, the amount of money that you did in the time frame, what's your goals now? Like, I know it probably gave you a bigger insight on what you can actually do with this business. So what are your goals now?
Goals as far as
let's say, how far do you want to take wholesaling? Are you trying to go till you reach $1 million? Do you think you can go beyond $1 million?
Definitely want to reach $1 million. Definitely want to try to reach $1 million. But of course, that'll come with scaling and building up a team. So I'm just going with the flow, honestly, right now. I'm just seeing how much I can do. Obviously, 30,000 is really well. I mean, I graduated.
That's a lot. That's a lot to have for wholesaling. Like in wholesaling, people probably don't even realize you can turn literally $30,000 to $500,000 because it's so much money to market. That's so much money to market. Whether you get lists, workers, like you can do a lot to really scale your business up. So because imagine if she can take 200 and get to 30, she could take 30 and get to $500,000. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So have you thought about getting a call yet, or are you still doing things on your own?
I am still doing things on my own, mainly because my coach teaches, because like I said, I quit my job. So I also had a lot of debt that I needed to pay off. And he basically teaches us to pay yourself first, get yourself in order first before you try to scale out, and make sure all of your finances and everything else is in order with you before you do so. So that's what I'm working on now. Obviously the 30,000 helped me tremendously. So now what I'm using the money to do is just literally continue marketing and stuff. I now have a dialer. So I'm using a dialing system instead of my little phone.
So if you don't mind me asking, what dialer are you using now?
Yeah, batch dialer.
Okay. All right, guys. So if you don't know what batch dialer is, they have a few things that you can actually use with batch dialer, whether you want to skip trace numbers with them or use their dialer to call people. If you don't know what a dialer is, instead of single line dialing, calling people one by one, you can call 3 people at a time, even more on these dialers. So it helps you get to more sellers in a faster pace, because the more people you can talk to, the more money you can make, the more potential leads you can bring in. It's a numbers game. So the more numbers you can do, the more money you can make. All right. Okay. So I would love to, it's February. I would love to around June get you back on the channel to definitely see where you are. And you said you're in Michigan, right?
Yes, I am in Michigan, Lansing.
Okay, so I do a little bit of Michigan. So if I ever get something in Michigan, I'll know to shoot it out to you, and maybe we can JV on some deals.
Absolutely. I'm looking to for Detroit and Grand Rapids actually to be my first two
Yeah,
virtual markets. So
yep, that's actually where I'm doing, Detroit. So yeah,
let's do it.
yeah,
Let's do
definitely.
it.
And guys, one thing about JV and I want to mention is when you connect with people and you guys make money together, it builds a relationship with each other.
Yeah.
So they know that, like, if I send a deal to her and she can get it off, or even I can get it off still, it builds a relationship knowing that you can reach out to that person or they're a connection for you to, make money. Because again, this is all money. Like, you're just making money together.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it with people that have the same passion as you, because we're all doing the same business, it's fun, so it's fun while also making money. So it's never really boring, because once you get that one person that's willing to sell and you can make some money, like, it's never really little. Like, it's always at least $1,000. So your check is always at least
At
$1,000,
least.
like, so you're always gonna make a great amount of money here. So
yes.
it's definitely something, whether you got a 9 to 5 or not, you can still do this business. You can still take 2 hours out of your day after work and call some people, and I guarantee you, one of the days you will get a deal, and it will be well worth your time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything you said is very true.
Yeah. So, all right. So I really, really, really appreciate you for coming on here today. Like I said, I would love you back on here around June to see, where you are in your journey. And with that being said, where can the people follow you at, and, see you if they, besides YouTube, well, your YouTube page and your Instagram page?
Yes, yep. So my YouTube page is my full name. So it's Jateryn Moore. And I actually just started documenting my real estate wholesaling journey on my YouTube page. So feel free to connect with me there. And then on my Instagram page as well. So my Instagram is my name, Jateryn M. So it's just Jateryn M. And you guys can connect with me on there as well.
All right, guys. So make sure you go follow her. I know I watched at least one of your videos. You upload like 2 or 3, right?
2. I have 2 up there right now.
Okay, so I know I watched one of them, the first one you have put out. So guys, definitely, and this is what I'm going to give you guys before we leave. The gem is to follow the smaller wholesalers, because they're going to give you more information than the big people, because we're more eager to tell you guys the process of us firsthand dealing with it. Because the gurus, they're going to tell you good things. Don't get that wrong.
Right.
But they're going to tell you the more general stuff instead of what you actually go through. Like, we're actually going to go through this. So guys, go follow her YouTube page, and I guarantee you within the next 2 months, she's going to drop a ton of content on there. You're going to be like, wow, I've learned a lot from Jateryn, and I'm glad I subscribed to her YouTube page.
Yes, well, I appreciate it, and I love this platform. You are excellent, and I thank you for reaching out to me.
Thank you. No problem. And, we'll see you around June.
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. See you soon.
Okay. Bye.
All right.